Brasil.
And now the shaking of hands, and pretty soon the clashing of swords. Brazil looking to defend their crown in many ways. Many of these Brazilians coming up from the under-17 squad that looked so good in South America, but stumbled in the World Cup in Mexico 2 years ago. So a chance to reclaim their form. Luis Gustavo, the youngster out of Vitoria, between the pipes. Wallace, Luan, Doria, and Mansour, the back line. Misael, the holding mid. Anderson and Mateus. Yes, Mateus. We'll tell you why that sounds familiar. Marcos Jr., Ajamilson, and Adrian. 18-year-old Adrian, another one of those under-17 players. Already 23 matches for Flamengo. For Ecuador, Darwin Cuero out of El Nacional in goal. Velasco, Leon, Ordóñez, and Ramirez in the back. Grueso and Corozo both in the holding midfielding roles. Uchuari and Murillo, with Ceballos and Parales, a pair of 17-year-olds leading the attack. Here, a good look at the bench, and you see that number 20? That's Rafael. That's Rafinha, the younger brother of Thiago, the son of Massinho. And, of course, Massinho, part of that 1994 goal celebration with Romario and the proud Papa Bebeto. Well, that little kid who is imaginarily being cradled in those three players' arms is on the field today. Matias Oliveira, the 6-foot, 18-year-old out of Flamengo, will be one of the players to keep an eye on today. He might not be as short as his dad in stature, and many saying he's just as talented in skill.
Well, thank you, Phil Shane, for making the entire viewing population feel very old. Yeah, we all remember that wonderful celebration, those blue shirts, rocking the imaginary baby. And he's here. Oh, that ain't him.
Well, Rafinha, the other one. And again, we could see him. By the way, the third member of that is Rosero looking on, the boss for Ecuador. Romario's son, just yesterday signing a pro contract with Corinthians. So who knows, maybe by the time Turkey 2013 rolls around, they all might be out there.
Not weird. Wonderful. Wonderfully weird. That DNA pool from those three men spilling over into these yellow shirts. The golden boys of Brazil, and Johnny, the number 10 for Ecuador, is going to be struggling to contain, but Ecuador will fight the good fight. Star-studded players that we'll describe is going on, but keep your eye out, for my money, on what other number could it be for Brazil. I'll give you 10 guesses, and your first 10 don't count. The number 10, Felipe Anderson, the Santos revelation. He will be the man, particularly to guide this team. By all accounts, the true string puller, and we'll see what he produces. Up top, they have a Sao Paulo hotshot in Admilson. He will be on the receiving end of a wonderful supply. But this Ecuador team, Phil, they come in showing their own teeth themselves. A lot of players from Emelec that knows each other very well in El Nacional. So they're very familiar with each other. It's a long, long tournament. It's over a month long, this, and the revolving of the squads will be key. The Brazilians have got strength and depth, of course, and that'll fall down to Avia to rotate them and keep them fresh while not losing their Brazilian identity.
Bill Shane, Ray Hudson with you. Glad you could join us. Again, welcome you to be part of the conversation on Twitter. Yes, BN Sport for the Spanish side, BN Sport USA on the English side. Of course, Facebook also a good place to go, and a lot of FaceTime. Talk about youngsters. Anytime, though, they don that green and yellow for Brazil, a lot of promise, a lot of responsibility. They've won this tournament 11 times, Ray. And since it went to an under-20 to sync up with the World Championships, they have never finished lower than fourth. And they've won it 11, finished second 7 times. That's about as dominating as you can get. So the Botafogo defender, Doria, paired with Luan in the back.
Strong pairing as well, Phil. There's evidence of it.
Doria kind of has that Luisao look to him. Don't be surprised, some of these players will be in the picture for Brazil 2014, even if just to maybe get some experience.
Well, they're rightfully very proud of their under-20 performances, as you said in the preview. 11 times South American champions, and this squad has plenty to offer. This man's seen plenty of first-team experience as well. There'll be no shortage of individual talent, of course, because, well, the Brazil. But what will they come through with in terms of a team performance remains to be seen. There's a lot to be expected, and after Argentina really started with their damp squib, losing to Chile yesterday, that has an obvious knock-on effect of building into the confidence of their most bitter rivals, Brazil.
A little stumble in the midfield, trying to keep his feet. Adrian, long blast, trying to catch Gustavo off of his line. Ceballos, the veteran out of Liga de Quito.
A good opportunity for Jose, and he gets his head up beautifully. It's a poor giveaway here, poor touch on the turn. He slips, stumbles, and then straight away makes his mind up, and it's not a bad effort. It's well high, but certainly Ceballos seen Luis Gustavo off of his lane and went for the rainbow hit.
Just 17 years of age is Ceballos, already 6'2", already playing nearly 50 games for Ecuadorian power Liga de Quito. One of the top teams in South America. Into the corner, Uchuari. He's not going to get that one through as it deflects out. Ecuador, well, not calling Brazil bullies, Ray, but what's that line? How do you deal with a bully? Punch him in the face, and they're trying to get that first punch in. Perales, the number 9, just turned 17. Looking to get to that one, but cleared away. Misael getting in the way. Another slip. The field here at the Bicentenario already a bit of a question. Grueso trying to step up. It was Mateus pushing it forward. And Jamilson with a little kick across the heels by Ramirez, the left back. And the Sao Paulo striker down in a heap. Christian Ramirez, part of Ecuador's under-17s, now progressing to the under-20s. Already a starter at Jose Terán. Again, Misael. Have a feeling that Emerson Avila giving a nasty look to the kit man. Ball just behind the run of Grueso.
Starting to find some nice little areas in between that back line of Brazil and the midfield as the Brazilians try to settle down into their syncopated passing rhythm, but Ecuador doing a good job disrupting that and getting in between the gaps.
And temperature at kickoff.
Question is exactly, I was just going to say, can they keep this up for the amount of remaining time? If the answer, of course, is not, because the Brazilians will certainly be able to play their way through it eventually, and usually very adept at taking on that pressure and passing past it and through it, and then, of course, launching their samba football going the other way. This man is going to be the main man, the number 10. That's a beautiful switch.
Over to the far side, Wallace, the diminutive Fluminense man on way to Chelsea. Play on, says the referee. It was right in front of Carlos Estrosa, the Bolivian linesman. Sliding across Luan Garcia and out for Ecuador. Murillo, well, from that angle, looks like he just got there first. Into the middle with Brazil, Ray. Everyone talks about all the attack, but the key to Brazil are those three defenders. The outside backs, more transitional players or attackers in many ways, but the two center backs and the holding mid, that holding midfield spot that Dunga dominated, that Rafinha and Thiago's dad, Massinho, did the same back in '94. Now patrolled by Grêmio's Misael. Got a lot of responsibility on his hands, because if that spot doesn't work, they can be victimized.
Oh, they've got a wealth of talent in that central back position. Another great one playing his football in Roma, of course, is Marquinhos. He's not here today, but this Vasco centre back, Luan, another, as I said, with vast first team experience at a high level. And this 18-year-old kid, Doria, is one of the real revelations of the last Brasileirão. So he's a battle-tested central defender for Brazil.
Well, launched into the 18, headed clear, but not that far away. Stepping up Ordóñez, and now spanked to the near side to Uchwari, the 18-year-old. To the manner born, holding off the pressure. Overlap, Velasco cleared. And Ray, something also to consider. You talked about some of those players that are already playing professionally in Europe. A lot of these Brazilians playing in an audition to prove they should be part of that World Championship team and not be one of those that's cast aside for the bigger names. Nice try by Velasco, still in play, and now Velasco reaching back, grabbing his hamstring, maybe cleated across the ankle.
No, it's just an unfortunate collision right here. He goes to stop the ball, cross the ball, and then tries to just toe poke the ball away, and Mansour gets all man, of course.
Joeliton Lima, Mansour.
Velasco doing well there, keeping that alive and then inviting the challenge through, and doesn't get the ball right in front of the referee's assistant. Good opportunity for Ecuador.
See Perales, again, just 2 weeks away from turning 17. The Olmedo wing, Murillo getting set to launch this in. Perales born on Boxing Day. Let's see if he's got a box of toys to unveil here. Set play is a great way to take advantage. Murillo. Oh, what a shot! Uchwari, but it was Gustavo who was up to the challenge. What a play!
Lovely disguise, Johnny Uchwari onto this, and it's a lovely technique. That's saved. The goalkeeper gets a touch on that. Have they given the corner? Yes, they have. Lynx eye vision referee. Lovely rehearsed move.
This time more normal. Little back heel only as far as Murillo. Ecuador maybe not dominating, but they've had the better of play.
First touch by Murillo again. Look,
the side volley was
one
there
as well. That was going to drop invitingly for Ecuador. Nice barrage of attacks. It's going to weld the confidence right from the first whistle. This Ecuador side saying, down with the yellow golden shirts, we're coming at them, and they have really worried Luis Gustavo in between the sticks for Brazil.
Well, kind of hard for Brazil to score when the ball's always in their end of the field. Wonder whether Ecuador may be taking a bit of confidence from what Chile did to Argentina yesterday. Long ball forward, trying to isolate it. Will carry, but past Murillo and out.
This wonderful rehearsed move that they practice all day long. Everybody expecting it to go high towards the back post or the forward post, but they go downstairs and do it with really good effect. Just very close to finding the target there. It's a good ball.
Adrian, well-timed run. Mansour just made the move to Vitoria from Bahia, where he started out. Velasco going to have his work cut out for him. Off the throw in Mansour. Screaming for it, Darwin Cuero, and the El Nacional youngster grabs it. A lot of these Ecuadorians also part of that trip to Mexico for the under-17s a couple of years ago. Rosero realizing a learning experience. Good square ball by Uchuari. Almost sneaks it through.
He's looking for the back post supporting run. It ends up as a poor shot. Sees his man on the far side, Jacob Murillo. All smiles and thumbs up from Ecuador. Rattling the cage of the vaunted Brazil.
All across for Fernando Leon. And he'll swing it to Ordóñez. Barcelona player, but the Guayaquil variety. Up to Ramirez. Another from Independiente, Jose Terán. Inside.
Supporting run against a poor ball.
Now a chance, Adrian. But all he does is trap it for Ecuador.
Very energetic performance this, and their passing movement is good. Ecuador, they've got players hitting those passing lanes on the what-ifs, but now the Brazilians are in.
And it's Mateus. Mateus slapped away by Cuero. No rocking the cradle, rather robbing it that time. Chance on the turn, chip to the middle, and acrobatically set up by Velasco for the corner. Good save by Cuero.
Oh, it's a great hit here by Mateus. He's in and he is gone. In the wink of an eye, lovely touch with his thigh, and that's great power on the run. Take a look at it again. He sees his target. That's a wonderful technique. Shoots like a Brazilian, all right.
Launched inside. Good try by Adrian, but it will carry.
A good searching ball by the Botafogo boy. Adrian coming in. That wonderful technique exhibited by Mateus, just reflected again by Adrian. The first time that Brazil fluffing their footballing feathers.
A soft touch, now driving it in. Trying to get tricky where maybe they didn't need to. Chance for Wallace, but they'll have to retreat all the way back to Misael. Their midfielder forcing it through. Ordóñez sending it back. Risky ball back from Mansour. And now in the midfield, Ecuador will get it, but they'll gift wrap it again.
Ball. Beautiful.
Back heel flick, but Mansour had to adjust. He tries to cut it back, but straight to Corozo.
Well, the tuning time's over now. 15 minutes in. Brazil, for the first time, coming out of the long grass and baring their fangs. Some lovely touches going on in and around Ecuador's 18-yard box, and wonderful touches, overlapping runs. That wonderful variety that we saw at Nielsen coming out with that back heel. It's what they're capable of. Just when you think you've got the runners covered, they'll turn the direction the other way, and here's another one.
Just carries a little too far.
A lot too far. Poor ball. Good approach, but give me something to feed on, he says.
Avila, wealth of riches, but with it also comes responsibility. You know that Argentina feeling the pressure as hosts. Anytime you are coach of Brazil at any level, everyone expects you to win.
Absolutely. Brazil and Argentina particularly, but all of the countries here got high hopes. We've seen the Colombians showing up nicely in this Ecuador team. Going to be no pushovers at all for Brazil. Playing wonderfully well.
Little bump from behind. Smart play by Ceballos. If he looks a little familiar, just add about 15 years. His dad, the sports minister in Ecuador, but more famous for being one of the best goalkeepers Ecuador has ever produced. Panchito Ceballos. His dad,
good ball.
Jose Francisco.
Nicely.
Overlapping run.
Great ball.
Into the middle for Ceballos, but he didn't get all of it. Instead, a pass to the Brazilian keeper.
Ball cutting through to him, and Jose sees it coming, and he's got his mind instantly made up. Beautiful ball by Jacob Murillo to find him, but Jose Ceballos just can't get enough pop on it. It's a brave effort. It's a little behind him. He would have liked it a little bit squarer to him, but again, lovely creativity from Ecuador.
Been impressed by this Ecuadorian squad.
Maybe a bright start right from the get-go, Phil, that's for sure.
He was saying they weren't going to play afraid. If anything, they're putting a bit of fear into the champs.
On the bench there, right at the get-go, and the national anthems were playing. The coach was smiling broadly, looked like he was really enjoying the occasion.
Velasco
nice
gets
ball
it back
again,
from
impressive
Uchuati.
Stuff, back post on.
Velasco squares it to the near post, and a good run,
three men
Ceballos.
at the back, lining up. He goes for the low drive. Take a look at the back post, people. He's got a number of players waiting. This ball could have been attacked a little bit more dynamically, I think, if it had been just chipped up to that back post, inviting the big hard run on. Of course, Luan and Doria, big lighthouses for Brazil, would have been protecting, but again, super duper stuff from Ecuador.
Corner kick from Uchuati.
Oh.
Glancing header. Good try by Murillo as he sends it across. Back for Uchuati, left-footed. Cleared away. Needed to get a bit more on it. Little slip by Mateus. And Bebeto's son surrendering the ball. This match has been dominated by El Tri. This may be a message sent and maybe a price to be paid. Calm down, says Buitrago, the Colombian referee. Thought he was going to let him off. Instead, a card.
A little nasty, this one. A little bit of venom. Right here, just as he rounds and pulls back right there, he's reaching in. Let's take a look again. Does he get the ball first? Yeah, but he's lunging in, and the referee says it's a little bit too aggressive. Not particularly reckless, but certainly on the edge of the broken bottle.
Again, using the spray can to try and minimize the arguments. Luis Gustavo, the Vitoria keeper.
Didn't expect to be seeing this much action this early. See it on the faces of the lads. Hot, hot night here.
This will sweep in. Only one man in the wall. 6 teammates ready to charge, driving it into the backside. Now a second chance for Murillo.
Yeah.
He'll try and win it at the top of the 18. Instead, now a chance for Brazil on the break. Trickles across as Wallace all the way on the far flank. Chelsea picking him up. A lot of promise. Launched in for Adjemilson. Battling Grueso. Adjemilson keeping it alive, laying it back. Marcos lifting it forward, almost meeting Junior on the run. Good try, Adrian. Oh, bounces and finds a teammate. It's Parales, the youngster.
Good player.
Keeps the feet flashing. Wants the ball back. Sent out wide. Murillo gets the cross near post for Parales. Cleared. Brazil getting out a bit quicker. Right in the center circle. Maybe a bit of acting to make it appear worse.
Cardozo comes across here very high and hard on Mateus. It's a high ball, so you can understand why Cardozo is reaching in. But, well, comes away with it. It looks as if it's clean, but he's definitely reaching up and around Mateus and catches him in the midriff.
And he gets a yellow card.
A little harsh, but
No messing around from Buitrago, who...
Oh, Cardozo comes across. The ball's popping up on Mateus and himself. If he doesn't make contact with that, Mateus is really streaking in. And he had wonderful support out wide with Edmilson and Adrian. So I think Russo did the right thing, having a bite at it, but getting caught a little late.
Ball launched forward, dropping back Ramirez, but he heads it pretty much straight to Anderson. Soft roller inside, and no problem for Cueto. Cueto, one nice stop on that run by Mateus, but almost all the other action's been in the Brazilian end. Ecuador on the senior side has been just as impressive. BeInSport.tv, of course, where you can find out all of the latest on the upcoming resumption of South American World Cup qualifiers. But right now, they're second behind Argentina in the table. So maybe a bit of a golden generation for Rueda and Rosero. Velasco already starting at Barcelona of Guayaquil, just 19. Ceballos gets it back. Forgetting something along the way, Fernando Leon.
Good ball.
And now into the corner, tracking it down, Adrian. The trailing run, but Rafael make that Mateus fell asleep. Now a chance for Anderson, pocket picked in the corner of the 18. Under pressure, Luan. Ramirez.
Quick to this ball, Ecuador, and covering nicely on the dangerous breakaways that Brazil are putting together. Really been very impressive in every facet of the opening 25 minutes, this team from Ecuador. But Brazil, world renowned for being electrical where it counts in and around the opponent's box. But they couldn't have started up any better, Ecuador. Defensively being good, they've been spreading it around nicely. The midfield has been absolutely beautifully led by Junior Chuari, and giving Wallace and the boys at the back some real concern.
Ray, not to slight Ecuador, but the surprising thing, you take a look, some of these are players that have been starting for years. Fluminense, Flamengo, Basco, Botafogo. Rafinha's on the bench, has actually started matches for Barcelona, but it's Ecuador that has been the dominant team so far. They got to capitalize, though. They don't want to give Brazil too many chances. Murillo, 19-year-old, sweeps it across. Glancing header, bouncing down. Got it to the penalty spot.
Way through again to Paredes. It's not attacked by any of the yellow shirts, and that's a decent effort. He sees it coming across all of the forest of players, but just cannot adjust his heading technique quite well enough.
And Rosero looking on
proudly.
I think the only thing that would make it closer to the dream he had last night would have been a goal. 20 minutes remaining. Half number one. Rosero hasn't had that much time either. He only took over this team back in April. Over for Velasco, back for Leon, launching it long, chance for Uchuari, but a good step up by Doria.
Core of the 2013 side that we're watching here is that of the 2011 Under-17 World Cup for Brazil. Javier also managed the national team, so he's been with them a long time. But here today, he's been surprised, as we all have, by this plucky Ecuadorian side.
Ray, in many ways, the fact they did not win in Mexico 2 years ago, he was, I don't know if you call it forgiven, but still kept in charge of that team through to this level. If they fall here,
right,
I think that patience might start to run out.
Certainly. It's been nurturing this talent pool very well. But as you say, Phil, the failure this time around might not be able to be enough to save him. And of course, the Argentina fans watching in absolutely loving this. Brazil struggling a little.
Lifted forward, headed down for Uchuari.
Good skill
lifted
again.
Back for the mighty Might. A little push on Mansour, who handles it well.
Lovely ability by Paredes there, hopping up high. Big lad, the number 9, the youngster, but lovely technique, nice balance about him.
Whipped in long, Uchuari. Oh, trying to send that back to the middle.
Ball. The searching pass, the feint, the run is wonderful. Take a look again. Number 10's got his hand up like a big Dutch windmill, and a lovely searching ball to feint him. Just cannot extend himself. Little Johnny playing super well.
And Ray, if he gets a touch to that, there were 2 blue shirts in the middle with no defenders between them and goal. That's got to be a bit of a concern as we approach the half-hour mark. We saw it from Argentina. We're seeing it here from Brazil. Still a long way to go in the tournament, but they are beatable.
Oh, look out.
On the turn. Blasted, hitting the woodwork. So close for Adjamilson.
That's what we're talking about just a few minutes ago. Electrical Brazil, just like throwing an electrical light switch. All of a sudden, they blind you with their brilliance. The Sao Paulo hitman, Adjamilson, and that crossbar is still vibrating like a guitar string. Wonderful power, quick attack, lightning pace, and then an insightful pass to find Adjamilson. When we see it again, the control is instinctive, the power and placement almost immaculate.
Adrian back for Adjamilson. And Ray, also, as we were cautioning from an Ecuador perspective, all the chances they've had yet to score, it was a flash, and Brazil was inches away from taking the lead. Nice tuck-in by Velasco. Dummied through by Ceballos. Cleared only to the midfield as Grueso, another legacy, by the way, gets possession back for Ecuador. Overlap, Murillo tries to get the cross in. Carries all the way for Uchuari, and he has some space. Uchuari back to the middle. Diving header! That's how you respond. Paredes, the Boxing Day kid, with a knockdown punch.
Wonderful lethal attack for Acero to gloat about here. Paredes stoops to conquer, but it's little Johnny again. Johnny Uchuari out wide sends in a heavenly ball to really put the worries up Avia now. There's the goal scorer, but the pass was absolutely superlative. This is on the far side. Little Johnny gets it. Take a look at this skill. Settles it. What a ball. Absolutely. You know what's coming. Magisterial. Magnificent pass. A rainbow, and there's a pot of gold at the end called Paredes. What a ball from little Johnny Phil. That's world-class passing. The way he settles it, the vision, and it's a full volley rainbow hit, and he drops it like a pint glass into a thimble over that distance and over the defenders. Superlative and a worthy goal lead for Ecuador after surviving at the other end from that hammer blow by Adjamilson.
And here they are again, Uchuari in the middle of the park. Think about this. Talked about Flamengo, Fluminense, Vasco, etc. Uchuari plays for tiny Liga de Loja. Paredes plays for Manta. And right now, they're 2 of the best players on the pitch. Near side, Adjamilson. In case you're wondering why we say coaches from all over the world are watching this tournament, that's why. They might be tuning in to see Mateos and Adjamilson, but it's the Uchuaris, the Paredes, the Murillos that are also getting the spotlight. Mansour. That was a comforting goal But here, the try from Mansour and a good clearance back to midfield.
Ecuador now going to have to really be ultra careful. Their defensive youngsters. Good attitude, kid.
Youngest kid on the pitch.
Their defensive attitude's going to have to be sharpened now, because now Brazil have well and truly had their nose bloodied. They'll be looking to come out with even more venom and aggressive attacking play. This Ecuador lead has been earned right from the first whistle.
Right, they spent a month together trying to get ready for this tournament. Adrian poking it into the corner. Mateus has switched flanks and still running into the same roadblocks. Misael.
These are the situations where the youngsters, especially here now in front of us of Ecuador, start to grow up into men. When you feel as if you've upset the apple cart, now the defensive prowess has got to come out and contain these yellow shirts.
Adrian slapped away the rebound with an empty net. Keeper was down. Give Christian Ramirez, the left back, credit as he throws himself in front.
Ramirez that comes across to save the bacon here. Beautiful back heel pass on the run. It's sent in with a power hit. The goalkeeper does well, but he parries it, puts it on the welcome mat. But look at that reach-in tackle. Wonderful by Ramirez of Ecuador to deny.
Good try, Adrian. Anderson coming close, but it's still Ecuador 1-0. Corner kick for Brazil. Driven straight to near post.
A good
6.
save by Darwin Guerrero as well, Phil. It wasn't textbook. He should have shuffled it out behind his back post, but the power hit was just too hot to handle. Again, the Brazilian shooting power and accuracy on display, but no way past the Titans of Ecuador so far.
Well, trying to go with the team that he's been building around. You wonder whether they might need to bring Rafinha in a bit earlier than expected, but I don't know if it's going to make much difference. Brazil still loaded with talent, still lethal, but Ecuador not backing down. They're not even playing like fears in their dictionary. Over to Doria. Think about this also. Doria about 6'3", Luan over 6'2". They were standing maybe, what, 10, at most 15 yards apart, and Uchuari from about 50 paces just split them.
Could be 10'2". They could have stood on each other's shoulders, and little Johnny would have been finding them with that vision and technique of his. Wonderful, wonderful pass. Right out of Xavi class.
Into the middle, Anderson. Brasilia-born midfielder. Almost 60 matches already with Santos.
The technique required to hit a pass like that, I cannot overstate it. There's so much of the dynamic of the ball to take into consideration, and Johnny Uchuari did it in a nanosecond.
Velasco getting on the inside and will blast it upfield. Intercepted Mansour, off to Mateus, deflected away, strong by Velasco. Good overlap. And again spotting the keeper off of his line. Off woodwork. Oh, Ceballos would have been the goal of the tournament.
Well, Pelé will be watching and he'll be smiling broadly. Just like at the 1970 World Cup. This is a wonder hit. Ceballos goes for gold against the golden shirts of Brazil and nearly emasculates them. He does Luis Gustavo up like a kipper. He beats him with his trajectory that is out of this world, Phil, and only the goalkeeper's upright saved him.
Touched in by Adrian, but off target. It's one of those things you almost wonder. His dad, as a former goalkeeper, said, hey, you know what? Whenever you're in midfield, always take a look. And I'm not joking. That's the type of goal, if it would have gone in, that would be on the highlight reel forever. 9 minutes left.
Pelé never scored in it, still on the highlight reel forever.
And Ceballos was closer.
really. Wasn't quite the distance that Pellé's was, to be fair, but there was not much in it.
Good settle by Orozco. Over near side Velasco. Again for the Emelec
Great
kid.
ball.
Patience, the patience from Rosero's squad. Normally you panic when Brazil shows up. Velasco again into the middle, just slips away from Caroso. Laid back, play on. Now chip for Uchoati with backspin, but good pounce by Gustavo.
Yeah, it is again. Take a look, the ball's played through. He's already seen his target and then he goes for it. That's an astonishing attempt and he is millimeters away. And I did the kid a disservice. That's every bit as far as Pelé was back in the 1970 World Cup in Mexico. And it was at a tougher angle. Remember, Pelé was right down the alley facing the goal. Look out.
On the turn, Anderson got away from him. Brazil having second thoughts now. 8 minutes from the half. Good layback. Adrian back out wide. Mansour, but he leaves it for Velasco to clear. Again, the two kids, youngest players, 17-year-old Perales and Ceballos, wreaking havoc. Wallace more in the center of the park. Adrian out wide. Back for the future blue. Cut it a little tight. Nice from Orozco to Grueso, but Grueso's pass off target. There's Murillo. He was the player that made the big switch from the left wing to the right wing for Uchoati to work his magic. Pass to the inside. A little mix-up. The ball with an empty net. The kick save, but an own goal.
You don't get any luckier than this for Brazil, and you don't get more dramatically cruel in our game of football. When we look at it again, Phil, it's absolute tragedy for Ecuador, and it's a comedy of errors for Brazil. How they score this, they don't even know. But divine intervention comes into play.
Leon couldn't get out of the way. A beautiful kick save by Cuero as he had to reach back. And give Mateus credit. You got to put it on goal.
Nah, Phil. Credit. Look at this. That's really unlucky for Ecuador. Prior to this, it should have been cleared as well. And as I was saying earlier, man, defensively, when you get a lead against a favoured team, that's where the tipping point comes. Defensively, you've got to become sharper and more focused. But there was so much bad luck engineered around that attempt. You're saying put it on target. It was directly at the goalkeeper. It wasn't a particularly good shot either. And then it ricochets off poor Luis Gustavo right into his own player. Tragedy for Ecuador, but Brazil will take it. They're back in the game.
Again, to be harsh perhaps, Cuero coming off of his line when it appeared as though Ordóñez had the player covered, and that forced him to scramble back. But Ecuador not surrendering on any ball, that time victimized by a bit of over-aggressiveness. Can they reclaim momentum? 1-1, 5 minutes left in the first. Own goal against Fernando León. Just 10 minutes after Perales's magic, and again, how huge is that miss by Ceballos? If it was a 2-0 score line, Ecuador has a better chance of just shrugging that off to bad luck. León doesn't find his teammate Caroso. Instead, back to Mateus, and Mateus has a go that just sails high. Here's Gustavo down on the other end. Just as thankful that shot from Ceballos didn't go in. Now all level with another half to go. From an Ecuador perspective, they've already taken a big step towards the next round. They're going to have Brazil in the rearview mirror right off the bat, and they've proven they can play with them. Now can they play it for 90 minutes? Velasco again for Uchuari. Little legs churning of the 5'4" winger. Beautiful. Uchuari to the top of the 18. Ceballos thought someone else was coming. You can hear Rosero screaming at Ceballos, trying to fill the lanes. Brazil getting a bit more confident, a bit more possession. Adrian got greedy. Good hustle. Grueso. His dad, Carlos Grueso, former Barcelona forward from Guayaquil. Two and a half minutes. Over to Wallace. In for Adrian. Ecuador in a holding pattern, just trying to get to the break. Well delivered in stride for Mansour. Cuts back. Dangerous. Back to his left foot. Looked like he had a shot, but passed on it. And now it's Ecuador on the break. Morales. And they'll call Misael for the trip. Right, this is the third match in this tournament, and every single one has been a cracker for one reason or another. Colombia with their thrilling performance, Chile with a gutsy performance, and Argentina unable to capitalize on the home field advantage or a two-man advantage. And here the champs being pressed by tiny Ecuador.
Well, there's certainly been some pigeons scattered by the cats thrown into this, and there really has been some surprising performances and results. This is the situation that leads to catastrophe for Ecuador and glory for Brazil. And we look at it again, it's poor Leon, the number 2, that's really at fault. And that slip inside of his box, that's what caused all the dominoes to fall behind him. We'll take a look at it again at half-time. But spare a prayer tonight for poor Leon, the number 2, because he will not sleep.
But also surrenders the ball. Adrian sneaks it through. The return pass is there. What a step in by Caroso, but cleared only as far as Marcos. The shot deflected wide of the target. And looking at it gratefully, whistle wide for the corner is Darwin Cueto. Good try by Wallace. And Ray, the other thing to consider is both of these teams playing at near breakneck pace in temperatures that are near 100. Second half might be a bit slower, but these kids are letting it all hang out. Whipped across on the corner, almost to Luan. Make that Dory up, now cleared away, and that will take us to midfield, and that will take us to the break. And what a first half it was. 1-1 at the intermission.
Well, real surprise in the package is Ecuador, and Luis Gustavo had plenty to cope with. Juan Leon, the number 2 for not the yellow shirts but the blue shirts of Ecuador. That poor lad slipped and let Brazil in, and he may have just let the werewolf loose, because Brazil will be looking for more in the second half. They're going to have to improve.